Hi everyone, and welcome back to the Lord's March Plaza by the light of the silvery moon for what's going to be our level 14 episode of Dawn of the Duergar. Apologies if you can hear snoring in the background. I've still got this little pug in residence, and as I live in a one up, one down, I can't really get away from the snoring. It's a beggar at night, I can tell you. I'm not used to having any noise like that in the house. So I was wondering, I guess you could put earplugs or something, couldn't you? I know some people are the opposite and can't sleep without noise, like they like a fan or something, don't they, for white noise. But me, no, the noise of the fan, or in this case, the dog snoring, it's less than ideal. Speaking of sleep, we got woken up at the crack of dawn by a bit of a thunderstorm this morning, and my dog Hazel, she hates any sound, any kind of loud bangs and whatnot. It's a legacy of a bonfire night when she was absolutely terrified, and she's never forgotten it. So whenever the thunder comes, she's in a right state. So she woke me up early doors and is now asleep under my desk here. Okay, so where are we at on level 14? Not too much has changed, to be honest. 12 was the big deal, as mentioned, with the arrival of the tier 5s in the Dragon Lord tree. I don't have too much on the new gear side, but I did promise you an uprated version from Mithdrana of the very popular level 5 helm from the Feywild. And this is it, the Helm of the Sun's Wrath. I think I was more or less right. I think I had it down as Sunrise or something. So yeah, super item this. As I mentioned, just more on the offensive stat side than I think it's Butterfly Helm, isn't it, from the Feywild. We've thrown in a Sapphire of Resistance there. Solar Gem of Imbuement's a nice one to put for our build. And yeah, nothing not to like on there. I think the reason the curse, I would never normally bother cursing a heroic or epic item, well, a leveling item basically. I suppose you could advocate for it if you're doing a dedicated build and you're doing it over and over and again, or as is the case for this type of thing, if you're planning on, this is why I cursed it, it's gonna last us all the way to the legendary cap, this one. So I thought, why not? We might just get lucky. And lo and behold, we didn't. I seem to get all the time this curse of the commander for pets and summons, and I am the last one to ever use pets and summons. So yeah, a bit of a waste, that one. But you never know. Sometimes you pays your money and you get a really nice one. I think I've got at least one example on the end gear, which I've been working diligently in the background to get ready. There's one example of a really good curse. I am not really one for farming multiple copies of end gear and waiting to get the right curse. No, I not least because if you do that and you find an upgrade on what you've currently got, you're then copying for Gilda's Jewelers toolkits, aren't you? For getting your augments out of the old one, putting it into the new. Just no. I can see from the developer point of view how that makes them money in the long term from people who just want to fine tune the end game gear. But to me, I throw a curse on each item, and what I get is what I get. If I get lucky, I'm happy. I think there's one that stands out as being really nice so far with the end game gear, and a couple that are quite niche that would have been hopeless on most builds, but have worked out quite nice for us. So I look forward to showing you that in time. I'm down to the last item now, just getting crafting ingredients together to do it, but I think we're in a pretty good place. One thing that did come home to me is that because we're half and half build in terms of the classes used to put it together, half rogue and half fighter, and we don't have access to these really nice fighter feats for tactics, we're really going to have to pay attention to cobbling together all the different potential sources of tactic DC. I think the only one I've left off that I could have potentially added at the moment, we still could, but we'd have to make compromises in other areas, is the 3 tactic DC on the sun or moon augment. I would have to give up. I'd have to give up a feat, an endgame feat to do that, but we could potentially do it if we still find we're struggling. Something else I thought about, because this led me down a different path. What could we do other than gear, i.e., past life wise, to help that situation? If I decide I like this setup and build, we could definitely go for 3 fighter lives. There's 3 tactic DCs there to be gained, as well as +3 attack, so not bad. And depending on how the double strike situation sits at the cap, we could look to swap out this 9 double strike in return for the 6 bonus on tactics that the martial tactic toggle would give. What's it called now? I'm trying to remember. I can't. Is it called Ancient Tactics? In fact, I think it might be. I think it might be that. So 6 obviously is a big deal on tactic DC, but I've mentioned that with this build I want to get to 80. That's the target for the double strike at the cap. If we can get to that without using this toggle, then potentially we can have another 6 on tactics from that ancient tactic, so that would be great. If we can't, then we're going to have to leave this in and lump it, I guess, and see where we're at. My hope is, I don't think we're going to do too much on the Sunder side, but my hope is that we can pick up the improved trip out of the Fury tree and make nice use of that, because in conjunction with the tier 5 from Dreadnought, trip would then grant us helpless in targets that succumb to it, and it would be on a, when we get to the cap, it would be on an AoE as well. We could be tripping 2 or even 3 possible targets, so that could be a poor man's version of the Raw in the fullness of time. I notice it's still saying there cooldown 20 seconds, but it's not now with the enhancement. It's 15 seconds, and I have noticed that does make a significant difference. I mean, you could be saying it's only 5 seconds, but in the course of general gameplay, when you're going from one pack, freeze it, deal with it, you get to the next one and it's just about off cooldown to be used on the next one again. So it has made a difference, as opposed to some of the awkward pauses like the one we saw at the end of the tier of Dakan, when I was sort of wanting a raw and there wasn't one forthcoming because it was still on cooldown. I suppose when we get to the cap there'll be other options. At the moment we really are almost totally reliant on that for CC, because this little trip, as good as the DC is, it's pretty reasonable. I mean, that's without the trance and that's outside of Reaper, and a 43 is certainly not rubbish, but single target only. So to have trip and stun at the end game, both on a 10-second cooldown, I think, and both a small AoE, I think that's going to be quite impactful and nice to cater for the times when the Raw is on cooldown, so we're not toothless on the tactic side. If we can make those work, I can show you a small spoiler here for the end game, and one of the things I've tried to do towards making things work. Great for us now, anyway, because double strike, but the thing I really noticed here was the quality combat mastery. So stacking with all our other sources of that, and there's a legendary version, of course, which we will be equipping. I think I'm right in saying we have sources of both quality on these glasses and profane combat mastery on the end gear. We've got some insightful on the ring, which, although it shouldn't stack with our trans, because that gives an insight bonus to the DC of tactical feats. So insightful on the gear shouldn't stack, but it seems like it does. I think I've had this in the past. It's those rings that drop in the Mithdrana wilderness from the rares, Ring of Mystical Constitution in our case. And it seems to me that the Insightful 6 on there does stack with everything else to give you a tasty extra helping hand. Or at least that was the case the last time I tried one of those, so hopefully it still holds true. So yeah, doing everything I can to try to make our tactical side valid at the end game, because that was kind of the plan of the whole build, to induce as much helpless as possible ourselves, not rely on other people doing it for us, and see where we could go with that. My plan is to try to, well, once we reach the cap, to try to have a look at each of the well, certainly a number of the expansions, and see how we stack up in there. Give you a bit, maybe show you a couple of quests and give you a summary of how the things have gone for us, because his goal, as mentioned, is to give a significant boost up to the 40 Reaper points he's got at present. That would be lovely if we can achieve that, but for that to happen we need to have those DCs working to keep us out of trouble. So I guess that's a watch this space. For now, we're going along quite nicely, despite the fact my potions of Cure Serious have long since passed their real usability, because we've got a nice hit point pool now, so they don't really make much of a dent in it when we take a shot. The two big defensive items, the Golden Greave boots and the Ring of Baphomet with the temporary hit point thing it can trigger, those two are really doing a good job at keeping the damage taken down, and so the need for healing quite minimal. What I tend to do is just leave the hit points to go down, and then if and when we need it, throw in a second wind, preferably out of combat, so we get the full benefit of it and restore us back to full. That's what I've been doing. Of course, boots wise, I could have at 13 I could have put in the what are they called, Greaves of Seasons Warding from the Portal to Below quest in Mithdrana. That's the very popular standard absorb item for elemental stuff, the electric, cold, acid, and fire. Particularly given our rubbish defenses, although you will notice, oh, we've got more now from the guild ship, haven't we? But you'll notice I did do something for fire. So fire and acid. So against what's it called? The thing that does both of those. Is it burning blood? I think. But I think those two are popular dots anyway, and dots are a big problem to us, so to have fire and acid covered isn't too bad. The acid, as a reminder, comes mostly from our Dragon Lord tree. You get resistance to the element of choice. We might as well check the stats while we're here. We're not doing too bad. As mentioned at the start, I put big into strength and con, some into dex and intelligence for the trappy side of things and for some skill points to max those out. Dex because that's what we're going to be using for our reflex save. We plan to use light armor at the cap, and we're in robes presently, so we should be making decent use of the reflex save. Dodge is looking pretty tidy at the moment. In Reaper, that's going to be up to 20, so that's not to be sniffed at. Another nice line of defense. Feats-wise, we haven't added anything since last we spoke. The next one will be at 15. That'll be the improved critical slashing. from which you might gather that I'm still trucking along with our level 4 Sky Pirate's dagger, but I'm a bit less guilty about this now because if you missed the episode, I mentioned at the start of our adventures that there was a bug with this and it was still displaying deadly blades and something from, well, there's a couple there still there from Sacred Fist. We're not a Sacred Fist, and at the time we didn't have deadly blades, but I can share that we have been building up in the Vistani tree, so although it didn't do anything for our current dagger, I have legitimately got deadly blade now on the build. I think the next interesting one will be this core here. Now it doesn't give me any use on my barbarian build because the comp bonus to threat range there at the bottom is only for throwing daggers and daggers, not kukris, which I'm using. But at the moment, if we were to get that before we change on to the kukri, we could take some benefit from that. So that's worth bearing in mind. There's some nice stuff as well that we're almost getting to up at the top of here. That one, the double strike, will be nice. And I think there's a very nice one here too for some more melee power. But you do have to be using either dagger or kukri to get that. Okay, I think that's about it for the speeches. Suffice it to say that we're not doing the Whiz King. I'm actually glad you're not seeing the Whiz King. Not because we failed it, we did get there in the end. But me in my infinite wisdom, I didn't remember the DDO hireling, Mikhail. So at the end of each, not at the end, halfway through each tower, when I found out that we were going up the wrong tower, if you didn't know, you can read these little runes in some of the rooms in Whiz King that tells you who is waiting for you at the top of the tower. And if it's anybody but the Whiz King and you're doing it alone, it makes sense at that point to DDO back to the start and try a different tower rather than going all the way to the top. But I had forgotten to pack Mikhail the Pious, I think it's level 11 fighter hireling, who is the only one that I'm aware of who has a DDO. So unfortunately, I had to do the long walk back or fall down or whatever it is. And that did take a while. I think I was in there for a good 20 minutes, so it wouldn't have made for too good of a recording. You'll be quick to point out that neither does listening to me waffling about it, so let's get stuck in. I figured we'd have a little look at some of these newer quests in the Lord's March Plaza. Is this the Peril of the Planar Ice Chain, I think it's called. Let's have a try at this one. Breaking with tradition, we're actually at the right level for doing this one too. I'm figuring that maybe when we hit 15, we'll put a 3-piece Shan set on. Maybe. I'll see how things are looking
Now
then.
that you've reached the Sulatar ruins,
And
you can
possibly
search for the
swap to
Eye
a
of
Fallen
Kithri.
Age
Kithri
kukri
is the
as
plane
well,
of
because I've
churning
got one
chaos.
ready.
So who knows what you will find within?
That tactic's still working nicely. Leading with Rapid Slash and finishing off with the Whirlwind if needs be.
The ground shakes. and the
Note
cavern
the heavy
shrouded it
silence when I'm
grows
trying to
open.
remember the combinations to the puzzle. Totally incapable of waffling on through something like that. Now then, can we find the box here? We should do. I've kept faith with the key lock ring, and also I have maxed our trappy skills as we're taking rogue levels now. You just chose a bad moment to pop up, Mr. Reaper. But if they get caught by
A resonant hum fills the
the
room
dragon breath
as the
thing,
first rune activates.
even the stronger Reapers as they are now start getting hurt pretty badly by the helpless debuff. Oh wow, never even had to throw in the whirlwind. So we are noticing the, well, it's twofold. It's the helpless thing coming from this tier 5 plus the extra damage against helpless, really helpful, combined with the extra crit multiplier on the weapon from the tier 5 that's given us a real boost up. I think that's where it's come from.
Smoke and ash fill the
God,
air
I can
as an
remember
Afridi
being in
manifests
here
into the chamber.
on Legendary and doing a recording, I think with my caster druid, and I had the good idea to time stop that guy, and lo and behold, a Doom Reaper just popped up out of nowhere and led to a very seat of the pants encounter, shall we say.
The second rune activates. There's a massive rush of air through the shrine, and then a sudden silence.
He's remembered he's got wings. Something weird happened there with the dragon breath. It felt like it had gone off, the people stopped, and yet it didn't display anything, and it hadn't gone on cooldown. That was a strange one. But you saw there, I mean, granted it was because I made a total meal of the encounter, but we have it ready again for the next set of customers here, which is just lovely, without having to wait for that 20-second cooldown. And you can see anything that we're having trouble here with the blurry opponents. We don't have true sight on the gear. That's something that we could resolve with the Shan gear, because I know that the family symbol, whatever it's called, has true sight among other things. I think there's Deadly on there. I think there's Relentless Fury on there as well, so that would be a good swap for the Raptor Tooth necklace that we're wearing at the moment. I did it again there. They got frozen, but it didn't display it, so I was wondering, has it done the dragon? And it
Waves
hasn't
of
gone on
intense
cooldown,
heat
has it?
billow out from the
That's a
chamber ahead.
weird one.
A group of cultists blocks the passage, leading into
I wonder
the
if it's
temple
because I didn't, what do they call it, hard target. I just pressed it into the group rather than tab targeting somebody. If I had to guess, that's probably why it did it. And I think it did it there because I was being a bit optimistic and it was still on cooldown.
and the ice sheet that makes up the floor collapses. Lightning
Come on,
crackles.
come off cooldown. We need you, we need you, we need you. Thank you.
Cold at the same time. These caves have been touched by Kithri's elemental chaos. Best watch yourself.
Now, please don't do your usual rubbish and fall in this electrical stuff.
Into the cavern,
Oh yeah, had to do it, had to do it.
everything slowly shift around you.
we're on the floor. Not good. I think we should take a charge of second wind while we still can. That was getting, well, still is really bad. So you can see just how vulnerable we can be when we haven't got the opponent's CC'd. They can be pretty nasty, these things, when they start beating us up. We've got a couple of second winds still left.
A menacing voice seems to echo from everywhere at once. The eye is a doorway into Kithri itself.
Hoping we'll be alright against this big thing.
Did you think so great a prize would be easily won?
We do have some temp hit points there still.
Time to feast.
Let's see if we can sunder you.
The death of the Grey Slav, the magic barrier sealing of the
That trip's still working very nicely. I keep forgetting to chuck the rapid slash in first. It's an important bonus to double strike, is that, if I can do that. That's if it doesn't kill the thing outright as it did there.
You can feel the rumble of uncontrolled chaos within the Eye of Kithri as you put it into your pack. Better get the unstable artifact into the hands of more Grave University researchers as soon as possible.
Okay, I'm not going to do the whodunit quest for the simple reason that with it being a bit random how it goes, that one can last quite some time looking for those clues and wondering which one you've missed. I do generally do it as a rule. Once one of you was kind enough to show me how to how you cover the various bases of where all the stuff can be. But in the interest of keeping things moving along, I think we're going to do this one instead. This one has some slight variations. There's different places one or two of the crests can be. But I think I've got a decent handle on those locations, so we should be alright with that.
The Eye of Irian is reported
Quick
to be
reminder of where we're at with the... Oh, hang on,
network of
let's just
desert
trigger the
canyons.
trans.
Now the hunt for the
So with the
artifact
trans, we're up over
truly
60
begins.
on the raw DC. Trip is a pretty decent 54 and Sunder 48. So were it not for the fact we've just done a trickster life and had... what was it? Was it towards the end of Heroic or was it into early Epic when we had 80
Something
on
glinting
the
in that corner of the cavern catches your
disabled
eye.
device powering the CC spells? We're not going to get to top that, but still, we're doing pretty well, I think.
You found the first crest. No doubt more searching will turn up the others.
Any kind of situation with a big pack, the Raw just really does an amazing job at neutralizing, and that's helping big style in our situation where we're not blessed with much of any healing.
The sunlight here feels
It's
much
meaning that we
stronger
don't
than
have
you'd
to
expect.
most of the time. Trip for the little single targets I'm still making decent use of. And you could see there 0-0, the little archers are having trouble getting through the shield of the boots.
A faint humming sensation coming from the device.
Let's
in
not
his
forget
chamber.
to go for the second crest here, as I have often in the past. I think it can be on the floor, or it can be up at the
sand
top
turns
there.
beneath your feet as
I'm guessing
several
it's not on the
scorpions
floor.
burst to the surface. The rocky outcroppings here appear to be sturdy enough to climb.
Happy days. Okay. I mean, even without the trance at the moment, it's still pretty decent, isn't it? Yeah, there's something. There's definitely something. I'm not by any means an experienced Dragon Lord player, so I haven't come across that before. It seems that if you, because look, the raw's off cooldown again. That seems like a bug to me. It seems that often if you trigger it, you press the key without actually having a target, just send it into a group of things. It affects them as you would expect, but there's no display and no cooldown on the raw. I suspect better players than me are well aware of this and acting accordingly. Let's try it again here. Let's try and make it happen. No, it went on cooldown there. The speed's been nice. It is noticeable when you upgrade on these single weapon fighting things. We're up to 30% now combat style bonus to attack speed, and contrast that, if you will, with the... Where am I going? I've wandered off on a tangent again. We're going to have to come here, so that's all right. But I've forgotten the... there's 2 crests we've missed. Yeah, contrast the speed that we've got now with the sluggish... Oh, it was so sluggish, wasn't it? Without haste boost, it was absolutely painful. Now, what am I doing here? I've got... We're going down that way, aren't we? We'll get there in the end.
The laugh-like hoots of hyenas come from the
Yeah,
tunnel
the
ahead.
paladin, his last life paladin was extremely robust, but the attack speed was so painful. I guess you can't have everything, can you? This one's going to be the other way round. It's going to be a somewhat of a glass cannon at the cap, which for a melee is far from ideal. Or in our case, I guess a tactical cannon.
The surface of the underground pool begins to ripple as you approach. Then the pool turns.
And again,
as an
for
elemental
holding
flows
problem
up.
targets like the elementals,
The
which
elemental
might not be
dissipates
affected
as
by
a magical
other
barrier
things
protecting
like
the pool
well,
fades.
trip obviously useless. Stunning blow I don't think will affect something like that. So the fact that the raw is so universally useful, mega helpful for situations like that. I still like the little boost it gives you after the charge like that. I typically use it for... Oh, what's going on here? Oh, we haven't done the puzzle, have we? My God. trying to talk along and keep an eye on the quest just doesn't seem to work for me. I could use lack of sleep as an excuse, because we were up at the crack of dawn this morning with this storm thing, as I mentioned, but it's a flimsy excuse at best, I think we'll say. But yeah, poor man's sprint boost, I quite like that. And for zooming over any gaps, it's quite nice in whisking for doing that kind of thing. Well, let's try and remember. It's I think it's just 1, 2, 3, 4, is it? And then maybe 2.
The last
Happy
orb
days.
floats into place, and there's a sudden pulse of magic power.
It's the same solution as you would use for the puzzle in the
that
Dryad
path
raid,
has
if you
just
know that
become
one.
open to you.
So unless the left hand one is lit to start with, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then possibly 2. if the left-hand globe is lit to start with, it's 44321, I think. That's the kind of thing it would be helpful to note down in the bio of my
As you step
characters,
inside the temple,
instead
you
of
notice that the
something
floor
silly
is
like
totally full of the sand and
fell
dust of
3
the
times
desert.
off the bridge in
Everything is
Von 4
strangely
without
clean.
completing the quest.
Someone or something
That's a lie,
is
by the way, it was
caring for
only
this
2.
place. You hear the sound of heavy footfalls
I've made some
echoing down
proper
the
mistakes
tiled
in that
halls.
one, that Von 4, including but not limited to trying to be clever and DDOing back from one side, only to realise that I DDO'd behind the action area, and there's a closed gate, isn't there? And you get stuck there. You can't complete the quest when you do that. So another one for the living and learning category. Reaper, you're in a perfect place, matey. I was gonna do this anyway. He saved! What did he save against there? He saved against a 61. Wow! And we did have the trance running, didn't we? Didn't we? Yes, we did. Fair play, Mr. Reaper. Fair play.
For many long years, this place relied upon secrecy to protect the Eye. That time has clearly passed. Very well. If you would be the one
So
to bear it to
Sunder
safety,
and Rapid
then
Slash to
please
lead
do
with.
so.
Of course, if you don't hit with Rapid Slash, it doesn't work, you muppet. Ah, dear.
The Daver pulls back with a nod. You are indeed worthy. This charge is now yours to
Not
bear.
too bad. I'm saying
Do
not too
not
bad.
let
It
it
was a
fall into
complete mess, wasn't
darkness.
it?
We
We
will
don't
deal
deserve
with
the
it.
loot.
You wonder about the
That's
Daver's
actually quite a
parting
nice
words as
looking
you
item,
place the
isn't it?
Eye of Irian in your pack.
I think we'll keep that. Yeah, speaking of Sunder and why I'm not too bothered on that side of things. The way the build's gonna go and the gear and the things that we're gonna have, I think we'll have enough. Precision already, our combat stance gives 25 on fort bypass. We've got another 5 already from the patron in Lamordia. There is some nice fort bypass to be had in this assassin tree, 10 there and 25 more for the active one, the assassin's trick, which unlike Sunder, you don't have to land anything, it just happens, so that's great. There's another 30 on the endgame weapon, that's 5 pieces of Dreadbringer. So without even... actually, I've missed one, haven't I? At least one. There's another 5 in our Dwarven tree. Bonus to fort bypass for being enlarged. Without even taking the... what was I going to say? The fort bypass augment on the end gear. We're doing pretty well with that. Oh, and there's also the rogue skill, Opportunist, which is going to get us 10 fort bypass and 3 double strike. So I think we're going to be pretty well stacked for that without going out of our way to really max it. So not too worried on that side, and that's why I'm not too worried about Sunder, because that was something I did consider. There's a synergy with Sunder as well at the top of the Dreadnought tree, which is going to be our main one. But I'm definitely leaning towards going with the trip instead and maximizing on the helpless side of things. We've fallen foul so much in the past, not least on my Kukri barbarian build that my main character does. You've probably seen that one, the one with the chains and the Shader Kai and the the more for all the paralyzed targets. For so long I was thinking all these paralyzed targets, well, they've got to be helpless, haven't they? And yet, no, according to the game, no. So this is kind of the revenge where a lot of the things that we will be doing at the cap, assuming they work if we have high enough DC, the trip, the stun, and the dragon's roar will all be causing helpless, and we'll be benefiting hopefully from all of that. And we'll need the CC, because anything that gets near us on the higher levels of Reaper is going to absolutely tear us to pieces. Defenses wise, we are not going to have a decent build at all, I don't think. I think we'd be having stats that would embarrass some casters, let alone melees. So we're really going to have to be on the mark doing the CC and making the most of that, killing them while they're slowed. The axe itself has a slow on it, so that should help us. Well, it's a legendary salt, isn't it? That should really help us against the trash. And then against big things and bosses, we would have the improved uncanny dodge. Speaking of which, have I missed a trick here? 6 rogue, we should have at least the lesser version now, shouldn't we? I think of when do you get the uncanny dodge? There we go. Yeah, I have missed a trick. Oh, and there's a nice little thing that I hadn't. Activate this ability. Oh, so that's an active ability, the +4 reflex save bonus. Okay. But +1 passive dodge at 4, 6, and 8. So we're gonna get 3 extra dodge out of that as well, should we require it. That's gonna be nice, because I want to eke out as much dodge and max dodge as we can in light armor. Now I know that in the Shadow Dancer tree, there's 6 reflex and 6 max depth in light armor, I think, so that could be tasty. And also in the Dreadnought tree, I think there's another 6 6 armor dex bonus, isn't there? I don't know whether we would need to take all that, but the reflex and thing out of the Shadow tree are certainly appealing if we can afford it. We might run into a bit of trouble with what I want to do with the, I think he's got 72 epic points, but bearing in mind in a month or so's time, I think they've said that the level is going to increase, the cap's going to increase to 36. Now for a lot of builds, I'm talking about my more seasoned characters who have more epic destiny points than this one, they'll just be, I mean, that there'll be odd bits and pieces that they can take in the epic tree still to round things out, but there'll be nothing overly impactful. Whereas someone like this, it'll be properly interesting stuff, like maybe another 2 stat bonus from Primal Scream, or the difference between being able to have the improved trip and not, or maybe 5 double strike out of the Shadow Dancer tree. The kinds of big influences on the build. So those 8 extra points, if I read the situation right, from the 34 to 36, will have a big impact on lower life characters like this one. So I look forward to seeing what he can do when that does happen. Now, am I actually going to put the uncanny somewhere on the bar where it can be helpful to us? I think I will put it in the same place as it would be on the barbarian, so we know where to hit against an end boss. So at the moment it's just 25%, but already that's pushing us up towards the 40 mark, isn't it, in Reaper? No, over 40, isn't it? So a significant amount of defense against a Reaper or boss target, which is nice. Now, should I even bother suggesting something for 16. Actually, I'm going to. The Crucible is a level 14, and we said this character could be quite well suited for it, couldn't we? So we're going to go for it. That's the date with Destiny. At 16, we're going for the Crucible, come hell or high water. Be there or be square. Right, I think that does it for now. Thanks very much as always for looking, and I'll speak to you soon. Take care.